Well, hello! Today we're going to look at combining quilting and embroidery. Anita Shackelford is here to show us how we can draft feather designs and use templates to feather in any space. We'll also talk about auditioning patterns, where you can preview your patterns before you start stitching. So stay tuned. Linda's Longarm Quilting is aired free to you by Gamble Quilting Systems Vision 2. Innovation taken to the next level. My stitch, my vision, my Gamble. We've been talking so much about feathers today, so I thought I would like to show you again some more freehand feathers. I'm working on a little quilt that my sister pieced for me, and she's also done some embroidery work on this. I'm going to put a bouquet of feathers in the middle, but she's done some embroidery work and some butterflies to kind of go along with this bouquet. A lot of people combine embroidery with quilting, and with the invention of so many wonderful embroidery machines that we can use for our home use, I think it's a great idea. So I'm going to pull the machine over here. I have a little sketch of what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to do about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kinds of feathers for you, and these are freehand. I've drawn a little pot here that I'll also decorate, but I'm going to just give myself a guideline for these stems. So I'm just drawing some of these out like this, so I'll have an idea and won't forget to do any of these feathers, because we want to do every single one. So that's all the guidelines that I need, just so I'll make sure that I get all of these in. And I'm going to start on the pot, and I'll outline the pot. Let's see, once I get started there, I held onto those threads as I started so I can cut them. I'm going to go over that stitching again so it will be secured, because I didn't really stop and secure the threads there. I'm going to go over the pot, and I'm going to go over it probably about 3 times, because I really want the pot to show up the outline of the pot. And I can put a handle in here. I'm going to put a handle on. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to decorate inside the pot. I'm going to put some little leaves in down here, like that, with little stems. Now here I'm just going to tuck, do kind of a C here, like this, tuck, come around and make a pinwheel, and then I've reversed my direction, tuck that in. The reason I tuck that in is to keep that nice and round, like that. And then on the little sides here, I'm going to do some feathers. That looks really nice. I really like that pot so far. Now I've done some soft designs in here, some round designs. So let's put something more zigzaggy in there. So we're just going to go just kind of a zigzag like this, and we might even want to come in here and double the line like this. And then maybe in the top we'll just do some loops. All right, I'm ready to come out with my first feather. So I'm going to come down the stem first. Here I come. And when you do a feather, you're going to do round, and then you're going to follow the stem, round and follow, your basic feather shape. Now that's just a basic feather, so I want to come down and make this a little bit fancier. So I'm going to put a stem in each one, and as I come over, I'm going to decorate these feathers with a kind of a pointed V shape at the top. This really makes a nice feather, and you could also do this feather, this part of the feather, with maybe a metallic or a contrast to what you've used on the rest of the feather. So you can always come back and decorate your feathers, and that's good to know, because a lot of times, especially when we're starting out as beginners, we might just be lucky to get that freehand feather in there and get a really nice shape. And then as we grow as a quilter, we might want to come back and make it a little more complicated. And you know, that quilt isn't done until you say it's done. There's our last one, like that. Now these are some real fancy feathers, so you know, if this is too much for you as a beginner, just don't worry about it. Just get your basic feather shape in there. But it really isn't that hard to do. It really isn't. If you just practice, and practice on paper first. So now we're going to go up and we're going to do, this is going to be a feather off a feather. And first of all, I'm going to do a plain feather again, like this. As you can see, I have another little line coming off of this feather. So I'm going to drip this over here like this. And the secret there is to always come back on the top. In other words, next to the feathers that you've already done, we're going to fill in that side first, like this. And then we'll come out again, like that. And this time we'll integrate that feather right back into the main stem. Now, we're not finished with this feather either. We're actually going to come back inside of this feather and do a feather in a feather is what I call it. So we'll get all the way down here like this, and then we'll come back and we'll put feathers inside. Now I'm going to stop the machine and go back into my automatic so I can slow that down a little bit for you. But you see, I'm putting feathers on the outside of the feather. I'm not doing them on the inside, just on the outside. Round and follow, round and follow, round and follow. Now in the feather at the top, I'll have to be changing direction, so I'm going to put these little feathers all the way to the top like this, then follow the top around, make little kissing feathers. I call them kissing feathers because they just touch up there at the top, and then back down like this, then follow the feather over and reverse the process of what you did on the other side as we're coming down, round and back down the stem like this. Okay, the next one, I'll go back into manual here, and this one is what I call berry feather fern. And I'm going to combine the feathers like this. I'll start with a feather, and then I'm going to do a fern. And I just sort of have that fern cuddle those feathers. Anytime I want to do a feather, I do. When I want to do a fern, I do. You know, it doesn't make any difference. In fact, the ferns can cross each other. That's okay. Doesn't make any difference whether you put two feathers and then ferns, or lots of ferns and then feathers. And we'll do that all the way down, and then again we go out to the end. We'll put a couple of feathers here and then come back with some ferns like that. And I'm just going to follow this down now because I'm going to put some more feathers in there, so that'll look like that's kind of behind some of the feathers that I'm going to do. Now this next one is called a ribbon feather, and I'm going to come out with a quite curvy line like this, and then as I come back I'm going to emphasize the heels. Now the heel is this side of the curve. Here was my original curve, and the heel is the outside of this curve. This would be the valley of that curve. So I emphasize the heels like that, and then in the valley is where I actually put my feathers. So that means I have to cross, you see, and down on that inside of that curve like that, and I'm putting my feathers, and then I cross over and put my feathers up in here like this. And when I get to the end, all I have to do is double that pretty curve that I made. Here we go. And you can actually go back into where you have echoed and do a stipple or something like that if you'd like to, just to give it more color, especially if you have done some extra color on some of the other things that you have been doing. Now the next one is a feathered curl, and we're just going to make a regular feather like that. Except we're going to come off with a little curl like this, curl into it, and then make kind of like a little bonnet on that, almost like a flower. And you can reach out into any area that you need to fill. And watch again how this integrates right back into the main stem. Look at that. I could take that feathered curl out into any area that I needed to go into on the quilt. Maybe there's a little triangle in the border that I wanted to come out into. And I could so easily do that. Let's just do one more right out here. Here's our feathered curl. And integrating it right back into the main stem. It's okay to go over that stem again because you know what? That stem is the support of the feather. Absolutely. Now we're going to come off with kind of a peacock fern here. This one is real easy because it is simply back and forth. It's just point, 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 point. But notice that everything is, when you have a stem, you actually have to keep this V shape in mind, like this. You don't want to get it out flat like that. So everything is almost parallel to your stem that you made originally. And we can come out here with some little berries, and they're just circle, stem, just kind of do a little curl like that, and then come back, circle, stem, circle, stem. Oh, this is too fun. This is so fun. Now, to finish the little, almost like a painting here, then you would just come out somewhere here and stay really close to your pot and just make some kind of a ground or a background. You could use your channel lock here, and you'd get really close to your designs too. That's as far up as I would go. And as you get closer down to the bottom, you'll get this bigger and bigger and bigger as you fill it in, so that you get a real dimensional look. So it's real close right underneath, and then it gets bigger and bigger so that it looks like it's going into a distance. Just play with that on paper and just have so much fun with this drawing, and don't be afraid of it. Next time on Linda's Longarm Quilting, we're doing lots of fun things. We'll tackle the challenge of quilting with squares, both positive and negative. We'll see some great uses for neon threads. Barbara Oliver Hartman shows off some quilts made with hand-dyed fabrics, and then talks about organizing dyeing supplies. And then we'll take a look at quilt labels. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. See you next time. I'm having so much fun with my new Gamble Vision 2. I have customized my right handle to the start and stop, and my tie-off feature as well. My left handle has not only the needle position, so I can have my needle start and stop down, but also my stitch button, which toggles between stitch modes. This just keeps getting better and better as I envision more possibilities in my quilting applications. Being able to customize the 4 buttons on the handles has given my creativity wings. My stitch, my vision, my Gamble.